Welcome to the channel and welcome to my review / breakdown of the Armiger Warglaive, the new miniature Imperial Knight from Games Workshop. I say new, but at the time of filming this is available to pre-order from the Forge Bane box set on the 17th of March. The Forge Bane box set will go up for sale on the 24th of March if you're watching it later than that. These may be sold individually, but at the time of filming you can pick up 2 of them in the Forge Bane box set. So what does this guy do? Okay, so he's strength 12 with his Reaper Chain Cleaver, that's strength times 2, minus 3 AP, flat 3 damage. And he has 4 attacks, minus 3 AP, flat 3 damage, which is quite nice. He's toughness 7 with 12 wounds and a 3-up save. So because he's at 12 wounds, he has a degrading stat line. So at full health, from 7 to 12 wounds, he's hitting on 3s, ballistic skill, weapon skill. 4 to 6 wounds, he's hitting on 4s, and at 1 to 3 wounds, he's hitting on 5s. That's ballistic skill and weapon skill. But he's also very fast. He moves 14 inches. It's a long way, and then 10 inches, then 7 inches. Because he moves 14 inches when he's on full wounds or above 7 wounds, he's actually faster than his bigger cousin there, which only moved 12. And when he's down to 1 to 3 wounds, he's still moving 7 inches, which is 1 inch faster than a Space Marine. Here we have them side by side for scale. Now, as well as his Reaper Chain Cleaver, that close combat weapon, he also comes with a thermal spear, and on the top there I've given him a melter gun. That's the thermal spear, that's the melter gun, and all in that's 240 points. You can swap out the melter gun for a heavy stubber, which will make him 13 points cheaper or 14 points cheaper, but you're not going to do that because the heavy stubber is only 3 shots and it's heavy at strength 4, so as soon as this guy moves he's going to be hitting on 4s when he shoots. And currently as it stands, that melt gun on top is an assault weapon, so he can move and shoot it, and that thermal spear on his right arm there is also an assault weapon. It's an assault D3 weapon at strength 8 minus 4 AP D6 damage. Now these guys are super heavy. You can get 1 to 3 in a slot, in a super heavy slot. And they have the Imperium and the household keyword, which we're familiar with for Imperial Knights from the AdMech book, but they also have the Questor Allegiance keyword, whatever that means at this time. I guess we're going to have to see when the Imperial Knights book comes out. Now, it seemed clear to me that the Armiger Warglaive is a type of pimped up dreadnought. Standing next to him there, you have the Redemptive Dreadnought, which is also toughness 7 with a 3-up save, but the Dreadnought has a 13 wounds, the Armiger has 12 wounds. A toughness 7 with a 3-up save. Both exactly the same, just 1 more wound. However, the Warglaive has a 5-up invulnerable save with his Iron Shield. The Dreadnought doesn't. The Dreadnought, they fulfill the same role. That 5-up invulnerable save will help keep the Warglaive alive, probably longer than the Dreadnought, even though the Dreadnought has 1 more wound. Having that 5-up invulnerable save. It works for shooting attacks only, so as soon as these guys go, either of them go wheeling into combat against something mean, like demons, they're going to get in trouble. And he's only got 4 attacks as well, so you can swarm him. There could be lots and lots of hordes, lots of bugs scrambling all over this guy, scrambling all over this guy, and he's going to get in trouble too. So he's going to be susceptible to being bogged down by hordes, but then most single models are, and he's also going to be susceptible by getting punched by something much bigger than him. But then most things are also susceptible when demons come wheeling in or tyrannid monsters come wheeling in. Now, while this guy is a super heavy like his larger cousin there, he doesn't have the super walker ability that Imperial Knights do, meaning if he falls out of combat, he isn't shooting and charging. He also can't switch up his 4 attacks to start stomping away. Imperial Knights can get lots and lots of attacks when they get all stompy and decide not to smash you with their chain cleaver. This guy doesn't, so he functions very much like a dreadnought, as I mentioned. Get either of these models into close combat and you shut them down from shooting, and if they want to fall back out of combat, then they won't be shooting because they don't have the fly keyword, they don't have any of that super heavy goodness that allows them to fall back and shoot. Now, as I've mentioned, this guy does seem to function a bit like a dreadnought. However, let's think about his thermal spear there. Assault D3, strength 8, minus 4 D6 damage. It does have the melter rule, so if it's firing at a target within half of the range of the weapon, you roll 2 dice to find out what damage it does. but D3 shots only. Strength 8 AP -4 is very nice, but there is something else in the AdMech forces that does fire at AP -4. And this is it, the Onager Dune Crawler. Now the Warglaive, 240 points. That Onager Dune Crawler with a neutron laser, 140 points. 100 points cheaper for a strength 10 AP -4 shot. Now, the Armiger Warglaive does D3 shots. The Onager Dune Crawler, D6 shots, and always a minimum of 3 for 100 points less. Let's also not forget that both of these models are Toughness 7, both of them have a 3-up save, and both of them have a 5-up invulnerable save to shooting. In fact, the Onager Dune Crawler has a 5-up invulnerable save flat. It can use that in close combat, as well as getting shot at. And the Onager Dune Crawler is 11 wounds, the Armiger 12 wounds. So essentially, how tough is one of these to take out shooting? Well, have you ever shot to death a Dune Crawler before? It's going to be exactly the same. It's going to go down in exactly the same way, plus 1 wound. So to my mind, 240 points seems to be a little bit pricey for this guy. Maybe it's costing so much because he can actually punch back in combat and you want him running up the field and punching stuff. But as I've mentioned, as soon as you get him running up the field and punching stuff, he could get swarmed, that's a weakness, or he could get hit by something big and monstery and stompy coming straight back at him. However, AdMech struggle taking down vehicles at the moment. The only surefire weapon for them to take down vehicles is the Onager Dune Crawler with its neutron laser. Sure, robots can run forward and punch it. You've got arc rifles, so there's a couple of other things in there that they can do. But the Onager Dune Crawlers are the go-to weapon of choice to take out vehicles, to take out monsters for the AdMech, and now they have something else they can use as well. Now, how will these things function in a purely Imperial Knight list? Well, strangely enough, Imperial Knights can sometimes suffer from taking out armor as well. The Knight Errant with its thermal gun is pretty good, but Knight Crusaders such as this one or Knight Wardens are often better employed by mopping up hordes or troops or very light armor. So if you ran a list with a couple of knights in, or 2 or 3 knights in, and then filled up the rest of the points with Armiger Warglaives, use the little guys to pick off the tanks and the monsters, use the big guys to take on the troops and all the swarmy things, then these two things might function together very well in the end. Particularly when your opponent will want to shoot his anti-tank stuff at the Imperial Knight, but really he should shoot his anti-tank stuff at the Armiger Warglaive and take these out, because these could be the biggest threat to his armor. Now at 2,000 points you could easily fit into Imperial Knights and 4 of these Armiger Warglaives. Is that a viable list? Not sure, but I would certainly be interested to see how it functions on the tabletop. And 2 super heavy detachments will give you 6 command points, or 9 command points in total, to play with. So there we have it, the Armiger Warglaive. Toughness 7. 12 wounds, 5-up invulnerable save to shooting, very fast at 14 inches, which is very interesting. And it'll be interesting to see when the Imperial Knight Codex drops, whether there'll be different builds of this type of model. As for the miniature itself, well, there's a few people online that hate it, but you always get a few people online that hate anything that Games Workshop kicks out. I think it looks stunning. I think it looks very AdMech-y. I like it. It was a dream to put together, just like Imperial Knights are a dream to put together. So yeah, good mini. Those are its stats. That's what it can do. There's my initial thoughts on how to run them. Thank you very much for listening. Happy wargaming.